On today's episode, I sit down with Liran Hirschkorn. Liran runs Incrementum Digital. He's the founder and CEO and is pushing the boundaries of everything that relates to Amazon PPC. We have really fascinating conversations, at least for me, when we talk about things like planning and really setting the goals and intentions behind what's driving the business to scale and the challenges that exist in bringing on too many clients at the one time. We go back and forth about a whole range of topics. I hope you find them helpful and sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hi, and welcome to Successful Scales, the show where I interview now successful professionals about their journey and try and garner insights onto any tips that can be applied to your business at home. Whether it's financial freedom or the exit of your company, wherever your journey may take you, the idea here is to simply learn from those who have done it before. I hope you enjoy and you get some value out of this. Buckle up and enjoy the episode. Liran, thanks for jumping on an episode of Successful Scales, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, it's the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for taking time out of your weekend as well. You're a busy guy and hard to pin down, so I really appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah, looking forward to speaking with you.
Awesome. So obviously, before we get into all of the things that are going to help people, it's probably a good start just to build a bit of credibility behind you. So can you tell, for those of you who don't know you, just a little bit about you and your experience?
Sure. So I got involved in selling on Amazon at the end of 2014. Started with arbitrage, then built out private label brands starting in 2015. And, from that point on, I just, was learning, like literally every day learning and spending money, basically buying, every course that's out there, learning from other people that have, they were already successful on Amazon. And that kind of grew into, helping other sellers. Today, I'm involved in ownership of brands and also run an agency, a marketing agency, mostly focused around Amazon advertising, as well as brand management, called Incrementum Digital.
Awesome. So just maybe go into a little bit about what you guys do at Incrementum, just so people can kind of understand.
Yep. Yeah. So we started out managing and helping sellers grow their businesses using Amazon advertising. In 2018 or 2017, I saw Amazon advertising starting to get more complex and more sellers needing help with it. It's when I started to really start managing ads for sellers. Amazon kept adding, more and more things. When I started in 2014, it was like auto and broad, right? And then over the years, 2018, 2019, Amazon just kept adding more and more things, placements, ASIN targeting, sponsor brand headline, video ads, like all these, additional components, more reporting, more data that just made it more complex for sellers. So today we manage ads for about over 150 stores, brands on Amazon, including Amazon DSP. And then more recently in 2020, we started to also fully manage brands on the platform as well. So we have about 7 brands now where we basically run the entire marketing side of everything to do with Amazon.
Wow, it's quite a journey. So you've gone from, and it's amazing to see. I mean, Amazon is so powerful, but when we talk about the media buying capabilities, especially back in 2017, it's really, as it compares to AdWords or Facebook marketing, it's really in its infancy. And, I've also seen that evolution. Good for you though. You got to stay up to date and you got to help people, navigate what's pretty challenging waters. And there is a lot of data. And so awesome. Cool to see as well that you're really expanding beyond and adding even more value to the client base. You said 7 agencies where you manage the end-to-end. I mean, that gives you also a pretty serious competitive edge in the understanding of every aspect and every link in the chain. So awesome, mate. Feeling even more grateful to having you on here. We'll have a great conversation when it comes to learnings here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's kind of like two different like sellers brands that we work with. On the brand management, on the ad side, a lot of our clients are private label sellers who started their business on Amazon. A lot of them are super experts, but haven't focused on the PPC side or just want to outsource it. On the full brand management side, it's more brands that have a retail presence or a D2C presence and don't know Amazon at all, and are really just kind of looking to, to fully outsource it. But I would say a lot of our ad clients are amazing at Amazon. We've seen sellers, that have grown from 500,000 a year in sales to 5 million a year in sales, over the last couple of years.
Wow.
Just incredible what's happening. And sellers that are just crushing it, especially in the last 2 years.
Mate, with numbers like those, you should probably start moving into inventory management, because you're going to blow some people's factories up. Mate, that's awesome. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
So you've been through quite the learning experience throughout this, and you've grown into managing brands, to running PPC, growing an agency to 150 clients in, a relatively short amount of time. I'm sure, and I can relate to, there's a lot of challenges in that kind of growth period, and there's a lot of learnings that need to be had. What are some of the things, getting to kind of the meat of the start of the show here, what are some of the things that you've kind of experienced that if someone had told you, hey, maybe consider slowing down, or maybe consider looking at it differently, what's something that would help someone listening out there today?
Yeah. So definitely there are, challenges. The good thing is that, I rather deal with the challenges of a business that's scaling and growing than a business that is, not generating profits, and that is, that's having other challenges in terms of driving revenue and sales. So, anybody that's having issues, growing pains in terms of scaling, you should be happy that that's the kind of problems that you're dealing with. And certainly in 2020, we dealt with, those kinds of problems. I think that some of the learnings for me was that recognizing the positions that you need to have on the team as you scale are highly important. So for me personally, I wouldn't say that my biggest strength is systems and processes. My strength is more, what you see, right? Like, I put out content, I have ideas, I have ways, I think about opportunities for marketing on how we can help, our clients, and also marketing from how we can grow the agency business. And I would say I'm more on that side. But, it was kind of amazing for me to have somebody on my team that is that operational person. And I think every business needs that, especially, selling on Amazon or an agency on Amazon. You need to have the operational excellence. I think that's really what separates out, people who can grow and scale fast, having those systems in place. So really from early on in sort of our growth, we were focused on putting processes together, systems together. At the same time, though, as you scale, you have to change the way you do things, right? You might have a small team and one person sort of in charge of that team, and then suddenly your team is so big that you can no longer have one person in charge of the entire team. And you need to start thinking about, okay, what is the hierarchy of my organization, gonna look like, and how do we, sort of develop that? How do I maintain touch with the people on my team while at the same time introducing somebody else that they're now, reporting to? So, I think thinking about all that is really important. And I think having out a written sort of plan, getting everything out of your head into writing, of like where you see your business going, how you think it's going to need to be structured out, thinking about that either yourself or having somebody on your team that's really good at sort of helping you map out the vision of what you want to try to do, and then what positions you need to have in place, what systems you need to have in place. And at times we needed to take a pause in 2020 we had to pause on taking clients at one point, because we're getting demand of people that wanted us to help them with the ad management. But at the same time, you want to try to maintain doing really good work and keeping the quality of your work. I think it's the same for, you could say the same for growing an Amazon brand, right? Like you can keep launching more products, but if you don't have the team in place to be able to execute on each product and execute on the launch and having the processes, things are just going to break, and it's not going to be, those product launches may not be as successful as if you had sort of taken a pause, make sure you have great systems in place, hiring the people you need to hire to have on the team, and then move forward. From the agency side, it's even, for me, more of a responsibility, right? Because if you're a brand owner and one of your product fails, okay, nobody's affected, right? But if you're an agency and you're taking on too many clients, then clients are affected, and it can really hurt your business, reputationally. So have to be very thoughtful about, how we've done that. We had to take pause. I think we're about to take another pause now to again be able to continue to expand the team, make sure we have the right processes in place, hiring, so that we can move forward, in the right way. I would say also, to our advantage, one of the biggest things I see in terms of interviewing other people from other agencies is that other agencies are not doing this, right? They're spreading their team too thin, and it's been our opportunity in terms of hiring, because it's something we try to make sure we don't do, and so also starting to think about culturally, right? Your organization, how do you make this a great place to work? There's a tremendous amount of demand for good people in the e-commerce space today. And so if you have somebody that's amazing on your team, you want to think about, how do I make sure I keep this person on my team, keep them happy, keep them incentivized, and have a good kind of win-win relationship. So, I mean, these are all the things that, I think about as we continue to grow and, scale the business.
I'm sitting here. I mean, you probably saw right there. I was sitting here writing. I'm writing down all of the points. You've just covered so many brilliant points that really ladder up into what it is to create an effective business that can scale. So just to repeat a few of these things, and I've got a few questions for you along the line, but you've talked about effectively the planning and how you have to have an effective hiring roadmap to understand how you can actually, and I've been through it as well, the push pause on bringing on new clients or bringing on new, at some stages. And my comment to my team was, as soon as I start marketing what we're doing here, as soon as we've built the infrastructure and we spent 4 months doing it, once I'm out of my box, that's it. You can't put me back in it. And I've been told twice. So if Joan or Lippy are listening to this, you guys didn't hold up your end of the bargain, because I understand the frustration that exists where, you're doing brilliant work. You've worked so hard to perfect what it is, and you're not going to risk on hampering on your quality to bring on more clients. And, it becomes a huge opportunity cost. You also talked about two other things. You talked about the incentive programs and keeping your team motivated. And then you also talked about another really, a thing that I want to dig into with you is about hiring senior management and middle management and different personnel. It really, I only understood really last year why companies are so hot on promoting from within rather than bringing out external senior management and talent. As good as it feels to have a different perspective in the business, what it can hurt is the culture and the aspiration of, I was going to have that position and now it's been taken by someone else external. And it's kind of, it can be disillusioning. So my question,
and I can tell you that exact conversation is one I've had, last week with my chief operations officer. We had somebody we were considering in the past. They declined our offer. They were going to come in at a high level position, and now they came back to us. They're not happy where they made a move. They not happy where they are. And even if we were going to bring them in, we weren't going to bring them in that same position, because we've had, meanwhile, internally, people on our team that have grown, and it's not going to be a good look when we bring somebody in above those people. We want to keep sort of them at the top, and we won't do it. We're like, this is not our internal people are not going to be happy. They've been working really hard, to have now somebody be kind of like above them in this role. So it's definitely something I think as you scale, you have to think about, and a lot about the culture. And I think also culturally, you're trying to really build an organization. In a lot of the people that are probably listening to this are fully remote kind of teams, and building, having a culture where people are, where it's not just money that ties them to the job, but it's also like being happy, feeling good where you are, having good relationships with other people on the team, and how do you maintain that, and make sure you're putting a focus on that. I think is another area that's important. Doing little things. We did a company, we paid for everyone to kind of get some food and drinks, and we did a company New Year's party, right? And we had some games, and and that,
It's
that's something
important.
that,
It's
yeah,
important.
people,
It's so important.
and people really liked it. And now we started, we have a company Slack, and we started this, sort of culture committee, right? A few people that were into it, that really liked it, that want to do more things like that on an ongoing basis. To keep the team, we just got some company merch we'll be sending out to, everybody around the world, right? The shipping is going to cost more, right, than the actual merch.
Yeah, yeah.
The team around the world, but it's again, it's little things like that I think that tell somebody like, hey, we're thinking about you, you're valued. I saw a post. A friend of mine just sold her business to Goja, which is one of the roll-up companies, and she posted on LinkedIn a picture of, they close the deal, and then they send her an away travel suitcase, and a few like accessories, and a plaque that kind of had congrats on your exit, signed by, hand signed by every single person at the organization. And what did she do, right? That's something you turn around, you post that on social media. And that company just got like a bunch of free exposure and publicity, and like this feel good thing for the seller who sold the business to them, just from taking
Genius.
that step, right? Of like sending something. I mean, how much that may have cost them $500, right? You're talking about $1 million plus deal, right? Like in the context of things, but they're creating this like experience and culture around
Huge.
their business.
It's huge. Think about the positive sentiment that now she's going to go off and say, it was amazing dealing with them. Like, look what I got. And every single person that walks into her home and sees that, and the post on LinkedIn and any other platform, I mean, it's it's a stroke of genius there.
Yeah, it's incredible. So it makes me think about, maybe every month, employee of the month, they get a new lap, right? A new Apple MacBook, right? Costs you $1,000 from the company, and you can make people feel really good, right? Small
Mate,
things like that.
I'm kind of work for you.
Yeah,
I'll,
let's go.
I'll take that laptop. I know
Yeah,
that.
but it's small things like that, right? That, if you're a 7-figure business, you should have margin to be able to do stuff like that and keep your best people. That I think is really, really important. I followed the Gary V model, right? If you look up Gary V, he'll post videos of like, there's a famous video of a guy who asked him a question about like, I can't motivate my team, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're thinking about it all wrong. Like, you work for them, they don't work for you. And that's as a CEO, that's kind of like the approach you need to take in terms of running the business. And I think if you treat your team that way, then it's not just about like, it's not just somebody else is going to come in and give them like, $500 a month more, $1,000 a month more, a bigger offer that's going to attract them to walk away, because they also have a really good experience, working for a company, that you need to think about
What you're leaving behind.
yeah.
Yeah, and also I think this might be a Gary V line too, but look after your people, and your people will look after you. You as the CEO, as you as senior management, your whole position is, what can I do to help improve their lives? What can I do? You serve them, and it's not the other way around. And when like I put all my employees first, always. I don't even like to use the term employees; they're my team members, and
Yeah.
that's really the position. Is if you're looking out for them, and everyone's driving in the same direction and they believe in the culture and they believe in the vision, then, I feel like something magic happens. And, I know, especially in our consulting team, so many people are trying to poach all of our management consultants, and they're going to do it all the time. And why not? They're all geniuses and they do an incredible job. But I know that the opportunity that exists inside of our four walls and how we treat them and where we're going, it's going to take a lot to kind of buy them. And I don't think money is going to be the thing that'll do it, especially considering we look after them. But I think you just bring up a really good point there, and that's all around culture.
And you should have the same mentality for your customers, right? Like, take care of your customers and your customers will take care of you. I saw a LinkedIn post. You can't do this on Amazon, but I saw a LinkedIn post where the CEO of a company said he still, sort of reads and responds to every single customer review, just because like it gives them, and whether that review is positive or negative, he tries to have like at least a positive experience from that, like interaction with the customer, and it gives them like massive insights into what the company is doing right, what the company is doing wrong. um, so I think it applies both to your team and also to your external customers. When you have, in my business, in my agency business, when you have somebody asking about Amazon ads, you'll see kind of like, in some cases, kind of like an army of people that will recommend us, in other groups. And the reason is because those are some of our customers that feel like they have a good experience, and they want to, they want to show that they're kind of showing us the love in terms of like, yeah, I had a good experience with them. Or kind of like for me, because I put out a lot of content, I put out a lot of free content, right? And that's kind of like, in some sense, like a thank you, that a customer can do on your behalf, right? Building these like brand ambassadors. So I think, yeah, as a company owner, you want to think about, how do I make my employees and my team like the best brand ambassadors, for this business.
And I think you touched on another couple of brilliant points there. The first is understanding your customers. And so like I just went and spent 2 weeks interviewing a large chunk of our customers, asking them about feedback on what they like about the experience, what they don't like, what they'd like to see. And the idea is like, we can all sit here and try and build the best businesses, but you kind of get a little bit too close to what you're doing, and you can lose touch with what is actually needed in market. So to your point, I think that's super, super valuable. And also on your point about all your customers referring you on, I mean, there is absolutely nothing more powerful than any form of marketing. We can talk about all the Facebook, Amazon, Google, AdWords, SEO work, anything that you want to say. No form of marketing is more powerful than when someone you trust refers on another business to you. So, the fact that you're getting that upward lift in terms of the referrals from people who are paying customers just shows that you're onto something here that people know and love enough to put their credibility on the line and actually promote you. So I think that that's also key as well, is to build strong relationships. And lastly, on your points, you're covering a lot of solid ground here, but to kind of articulate it down, you're saying that you provide a lot of value when it comes to free content. That's, your shtick is to really kind of get it. Like, I see you putting the hours inside of Clubhouse, answering every question you can, supporting anyone that you can. And we're really, in my opinion, we're moving into a whole new age of effectively like intention-based marketing, where, I'm a big believer that the gift of giving without the expectation of reciprocation is probably one of the most fulfilling things that you can do in life. So if you go in with that level of intention, as you do, trying to help people, then everything else is just going to figure itself out.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, I spent a good amount of time on Clubhouse, and you're right. There's, the 99% of the people that are there probably aren't even selling on Amazon. They're not necessarily in my target market. A lot of them are also very new, that it wouldn't make sense for them to hire an agency, etc. But yes, I think there's a certain level of giving back that just comes back to you, and giving back without, exactly like you said, giving back without expectation. I just think it goes a long way, and it may not come back to you directly from that same place where you gave, but I feel like it comes back if that's kind of like your your philosophy. I mean, you could say, you can look at somebody like a Gary Vee, right? He puts out a tremendous amount of content. When he puts out a book, he'll go say, hey guys, been putting out a lot of content for you. The least you could do is go buy my book, right? And people go buy his book or his sneakers or whatever because of the value that he puts out. And I mean, you can say that it's my biggest secret in terms of like good business strategy, right? Because I think it's just a good long-term business play, in terms of just putting out content and people seeing that you are here to stay, you're not going anywhere, and that you're legitimately trying to help people. Also has its own sort of understanding of the law of reciprocity, and that it kind of comes back to you. So you could say it's unselfish, or you could say it's selfish, because it does come back in terms of business. And again, I think you can look at it in terms of any business putting out content. If you sell supplements, you could be putting out a tremendous amount of health related content, or if you sell fitness products or whatever it is that you sell, right? You could take this concept of putting out content and just do it from the point of putting out content that will be attached to your brand, that makes people want to buy your product versus the 30 other products that are identical, but you've differentiated your brand by putting out content. So I think it's super powerful.
I'm with you. It's all about value creation. It's all about how can we help add value in a link in the chain to support our customers. And, I'm a big advocate for the creation of jobs and actually empowering people to, actually live the lives they want to live. Like, my success metrics are really dictated by what our head count is. That for me is that's what I get out of bed in the morning, knowing that we've had that much impact on that many lives. And I know that you kind of share that same philosophy when we talk about actually doing good in the world and having a positive impact. And it comes through every time we talk. It comes through loud and clear. So, mate, I want to be respectful of the fact that it's your Sunday. You've been kind enough to book in on a weekend. So I'm going to keep you for not too much longer. Just a few last questions for you. So the first of the last questions, I'll say, is, you've gone through this pretty incredible experience over the years, and you've gotten to a point where, you've got a couple of successful businesses, or you've got the agency, and you're also invested in kind of managing brands too, and you're doing a whole lot of things here. If there was one key learning that you said to yourself, hey, that's the one big takeaway that I've had through this whole experience to date. And I know, we're relatively young in our careers. We're going to be doing this for the next 20, 30. I don't know if you'll ever stop guys like you and me. We'll be bored otherwise. But, what's that one thing to date that you've learned that you think is of real value?
I'll say, two things that really are the same, but this is a line from Jesse Itzler, who, if you don't know, you should go follow. But Jesse says, stay in the game long enough until you get lucky, right? Because I think if you look at a lot, there are some people that, start their first business and have, massive success, but sometimes getting money too easily can lead to future losses as well, because you're too sure of yourself, and you end up making bad decisions in the future. But I think having failures and getting back up and continuing and consistently showing up, whether it's a good day or if you had a bad day, getting back up the next day and just staying in the game. There's no better time where I've seen that happen now in e-commerce. People that have failed before, suddenly 2020 came around and had massive success. Products that would have failed in 2017 because of the level of competition, 2020 were successful products for people. So I really go kind of with that mindset, stay in the game long enough until you get lucky. Because if you stay consistent and you keep at it, I think you're bound to have success, if you don't quit, and if you take the mentality that if you keep moving forward, taking positive steps every single day consistently, you're gonna reach, a level of success. But I think especially in e-commerce, and I think a lot in this space, people quit before they give themselves the chance to get lucky, because it doesn't work the first time around. And Amazon is a giant headache, in a lot of ways. And if you don't understand that every time you jump over a hurdle, you're actually like leveling up, it's like, I grew up in, playing Nintendo and playing Mario, right? And in each time you beat a level, you got to another level, and the challenges were greater, right? But you got one step closer to winning the game. And so I think as you level up, the challenges get bigger, the challenges get greater as you overcome those challenges. And we're in business is, in a sense, like solving problems at scale, right? So like, you just have to recognize that entrepreneurship business is just solving problems. And so bigger and better problems are going to continue to show up, and your job as an entrepreneur is to kind of solve those problems. And so like, that's kind of what you signed up for, is a massive undertaking of continuously dealing with problems, and that recognizing that, and I think is, things are some of the things you need to do in order to understand like what you signed up for, and what's the potential reward for, overcoming those challenges.
I think I was going to ask you as the next question, what would one piece of advice be? But I think you've really hit the nail on the head there, because it's just so true. It does get more complex. It does get more challenging, but I also think that it also gets a whole lot easier too. Like, you get very comfortable in the uncomfortable, and you understand that, there is no end game. There is no, I've figured it all out. And for anyone who's sitting there telling you they've got it all figured out, maybe start asking a few more questions, because, for anyone who's going to be successful here, they're going to make mistakes, and they're going to go through those learnings, and they're going to evolve, and hopefully they'll take those lessons and they'll level up, as you were saying. Also,
yes,
I was a big Nintendo 64 guy myself. Nothing.
Yep.
So totally, I'm with you on that.
And I would say, yeah, it does get easier, because when those problems come, you're just like, okay, yeah, like, I'm expecting this, right? It's not like you launched an Amazon business and suddenly you have all these massive problems, and you're like, whoa, I didn't know that, Amazon could just take down my product, or I didn't know that I'm going to have limits with shipments, or that they're charging me oversized fees when it's not oversized, but like, once you start dealing with those problems and overcoming them, then you just expect the problems to come, right? And know that they're going to come, and you just need to know that, like, I think you have to have the belief and confidence, like, problems are going to come, and somehow I will figure out a way how to overcome them. And I think that's a lot of the, the mental mindset part of the psychological part you need to have as an entrepreneur, that problems will come and everything is figure outable, thing. And that there's no, if you read stories of people that went from massive debt to massive success, it was because of that mindset of knowing that, everything, you can kind of figure out everything and solve it. And that's, that's a lot of the lessons I've learned in the last few years have been kind of around the mindset component of being in business.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, mate, on that note, probably a good time to wrap it up and let you have the rest of your weekend. But before we do sign off, anyone listening in who wants to reach out to you, get in touch with Incrementum, you specifically, what's the best way that they can do that?
Sure. So Incrementum Digital is the website. We're actually working on revamping the site. You can reach out to me, Liran at Incrementum Digital, or through social media. I also have a podcast and a Facebook group with the same name called E-commerce Mindset, where I talk a lot about marketing on Amazon, and then once in a while, some of this mindset content, which I think is really the foundation. So happy to talk to anybody that reaches out.
Awesome. Well, Liran, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for seriously a lot of nuggets of wisdom and the way you've kind of thought through very intentionally the growth of the business and where you sit today. Uh, yeah, just appreciate the time and hope just for more success for you and the crew.
Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to listening to your wisdom. As this as you have other really smart people and share your wisdom on this podcast. So looking forward to subscribing and listening as well.
Thanks, mate. Well, you'll be one of the first 10 episodes. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.